a long time ago. I started out in a crappy little car. Anyways, all this stuff that we're going to get into. And for right now, though, I want to at least let you guys know what we're doing today. And so, we actually know what we're talking about. And hopefully that maybe you guys can take some of the nuggets that we give you that you can use in your own personal business. So, but before I do that, can I get you a round of hands? How many of you guys have ever flipped a house before? Oh, that's awesome. All right, cool. So that's one of the reasons why I like this club is that it has a good mixture of people that flip, some people wholesale. Anybody wholesaled a house before? All right. Anybody rent a house out as a landlord? Fantastic. Anybody do any builds? Like specs? Not me. I won't go near them. Great. Anybody has done any subdividing? Apartments? Anything? Fantastic. All right, cool. So we got a really cool, diverse mix. If you go to REITs, you ask that same question, there's like one person now, Joe. Anyways, because I think we all go to REITs too. So, name of our company is Fixated Real Estate. It actually started a few years back, 2014. I had a business partner at the time that lasted about 2 weeks because we started the company. I'd already been doing stuff in real estate in the past, but Fixated got its name from a random word generator. And there's a word that said fixated, and I'm like, oh, cool, double entendre, I guess, right? You're fixated like focused, and then you're fixated because you rehab houses. Fantastic. So started that, partnered up with this guy. We're going to go do our first flip together. We get it under contract. He freaks out because he's never done it before, and he immediately wants out of the business. I'm like, cool, sign the I can't remember what it's called. Anyways, sign the form, the addendum to the LLC, and get him off the LLC, and then Fixated started. Right. So lucky me, bad, right? So right now, 2015, we did 38 single-family homes. We flipped in the Pacific Northwest and Seattle, all the way from here to Portland. So that's all single-family. Some of those were partnerships, joint ventures, whatever you name it. Some of those were solely ours. Some of those was because I used to also run or co-run an equity fund out of Arizona, where we just had a lot of cash. We raised money from other people, and we would invest directly into flips. So part of those houses, about half of those houses was me and my business partner in that together. The second half of the year, him and I weren't together anymore. So we're still buddies, but I figured out that I was doing 100% of the work and getting half the money. So that ended that relationship. Now, or so forth. So flipped 18 houses so far in 2016 within Fixated. We currently own 20 single-family homes, various stages of the process. 5 are actually already in pending status. The rest of them are in work-in-progress status. The other 15, meaning they're in some stage of rehab. Right? Maybe they're just about ready to be finished. Maybe we just started them. Like we bought 3 in West Seattle all last week. Actually, 1 this week and 2 the previous week. All within 4 minutes of each other. We haven't done crap to them. Right? So they're just sitting there. I think we trashed out 1. So they're all in different stages. Out of the 15 that we just had, 10 of them were purchased in the last 30 days. So we do like to do volume. And I'm pretty excited about these 10 because we get to make sure that we do it right and we do it on time, because usually we buy 3, 4 a month, that kind of thing. We never bought 10 in a month, so that's the most that my company's ever done. Right? So it should be exciting, and hopefully we don't blank it up. So I'll cuss sometimes, so you guys know I won't say the F word, but if you hear me say blank, then that's good enough. So we have some subsidiaries and affiliates. Grateful Money, GTFM Holdings, which means get the money. Holdings LLC, that my fiance and I own that together. Arizona Equity Holdings is actually the fund company that my business partner Tony and I used to run together. AHP, that actually is a nonprofit. Apex Acquisitions, that's Travis isn't here, he lied. He's good to be here. Anyways, my buddy Travis and I run that in Portland. That is a off-market marketing business. It's kind of a new thing that we started. We were trying to figure out if we can wholesale properties without ever seeing them from far away, right? We bought 1, right, that I haven't even been to yet, and we have 2 under contract right now. We had 3 that didn't work out. We have 2 under contract. We have it's a kind of unique way. We've decided that we contracted 2 wholesale groups out of Portland, and we contracted with them. We give them all the training. We pay 100% of the marketing. We pay for the phones. We pay for the CRMs. We pay for all that stuff, and we do a conference call on Wednesdays. It's worked out with one of them better than another, but it's just a test. We're just trying to see if it works, right? And if it works, then maybe we'll do it in other places. And then we have a whole bunch of other little LLCs, because has anybody here heard that tactic where you buy an LLC while it's under contract in lieu of an assignment contract? Right? It's a cool little way. It's one way that if you want to avoid Short sales, when it comes to short sales, you can't assign a contract when it's in a short sale. And you also, when it comes to most bank REOs, you can't do that, right? You can tie it up in an LLC, and then you can sell the LLC to somebody like myself while it's under escrow. Does that make sense so far? And then once you buy the LLC, right, which is the assignment fee, then now I'm the new signer on the LLC, and I can go close on the house. Make sense? So, advanced topic, we're not going to get into it, but that's how you wind up with a whole bunch of weird ass LLC. Right? So, and then you get rid of all of them and affiliate it. So, we have a team. So we got me, I'm the owner. Then we have our acquisitions media, an awesome dude, Nate over there. He's filming for us. He actually, funny story with him, he used to be my banker. Right? And sat down with him, and then 3 months later, he quit his job and comes work with us. So, yeah, he's a great dude. And we also got operations, graphic designer assistant. She's also a realtor, awesome girl, that's Serena Norris. She's back. She's been with me for over a year now, and she does an amazing job with what she does. She's helping run all the operations, behind the scenes stuff. And we also have construction project manager. We had somebody in that position a week ago. So now I'm that guy, and I don't want to be that guy. But there was a fourth member. So I'm temporarily that guy. If you guys know anybody, the key word is construction, right? Not project. We changed the name. Construction project manager, because we want somebody that actually understands construction and the full aspects of it. Right? Running a project's one thing, running crews is another. So. We also have additional team members. This is something we'll hit on hard later in the presentation. Realtors, lots of contractors, designers, escrow agents, attorneys, title people, private lenders, wholesalers, bankers, and affiliate business partners. Those are all people that don't work for us directly that I'm sure if you've ever flipped a house, you've used some of these people, right? Very, very important. And actually there's one that I think most people forget, which I'll really hit on, is escrow agents. Any of you guys have a preferred escrow agent? Absolutely. I get rid of everybody else except these people before I'd ever get rid of an escrow agent. Right? Those people can make and break your deals, and we'll go into that later. And then, of course, the most valuable partner and the greatest support in my life, Grace Minson. She's actually soon to be Grace Yarber. We're going to
Yes,
in all honesty, like this business is a million times easier for me because she's a mother. So, all right. Now. We really sucked in the beginning, and I just want to get that over with really quick. So 11 years ago, I went to a seminar. How many of you guys got into real estate due to a seminar? Right? Okay. So I went to the Real Estate Wealth Expo. I think it was technically towards the end of 2004. Yeah. Anyways, Real Estate Wealth Expo in Los Angeles, and Robert Kiyosaki was speaking there. So was Donald Trump. So was Russell Simmons. Who was not even real estate. It was cool to see him talk. You had other guys like Ron LeGrand was there. You had a whole bunch of other guys like Scott Shield. People I didn't even know. I didn't know any of these people other than Robert Kiyosaki. So I read Rich Dad Poor Dad when I was 17. I was obsessed with him and grew up very broke. Grew up in that, I guess not that upper lower income, right? We're not quite middle income, but we're right there. And we never owned anything. My parents still never owned a house or my entire life, or their entire lives never owned a house. And so I didn't have any role models. So I had Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad Poor Dad. I heard it on a radio station, bought the book the next day. I'm like, this is awesome. I want to do whatever this guy says to do. I want to do real estate. So he goes and speaks. I was 20 years old. He goes and speaks at the Real Estate Wealth Expo. I drive down to LA. I was living in Sacramento. And I actually wasn't that, I thought he was awesome, great, you know. But then I saw this other speaker. His name was Marshall Silver. He was the world's greatest hypnotist, and he was a personal development coach. And he just, like, everything he said was about how to, like, take action now and no risk, no goodies, and dude, you're going to be a millionaire, right? And I'm like, I'm going to be a millionaire! And I had so much energy. I never heard anybody talk that way, ever. And I ran out of I had no money. I had an American Express card that had, surprisingly, a $3,000 limit on it. And his seminar was $1,500. So I stood up. When he said stop, I was the first person to stand up, and I ran to the back and dropped my American Express. I was a college student. I was doing Air Force ROTC, and I worked at Sears. And put $1,500 down. Never saved $1,500 in my entire life at that time, but I had it on a credit card. And I walked out of there, and I'm like, how do I pay for this? Because American Expresses aren't a credit card; they're a charge card, right? So I'm tripping out. But I don't care. I fell on the ground. I started writing. I'm gonna be a millionaire. I'm gonna be awesome, right? And I started writing all that stuff out because I was pumped up. I was seminar junkie, right? And then after that settled down that night, because it was a 2-day seminar, I thought, no, seriously, how am I gonna pay for this? I saw the brochure. One of the brochures said how to turn $10,000. No, how to turn $10,000. No, sorry. How to turn $10 into $10,000 in 30 days or less. I'm like, I got 10 bucks, I can do that. So, so I went to that. It was a breakout session. She wasn't even good enough to be in the main session. She was a breakout session. Dwan Twyford. And I went and saw her speak, and it was on wholesaling real estate, assignment contracts. Never heard of it before in my entire life. But I saw her put a bunch of checks on the overhead projector. It wasn't even a PowerPoint, right? And they had PowerPoints back then. It's not that long ago, but she didn't have it. So overhead projector, photocopies of checks and stuff. And she's talking about how to wholesale property, and it just made a lot of sense to me. I'm like, cool, I'll do that. It's only $891, right? So I've already gone this far. And to me, now I know some of you guys nowadays, this is really cheap seminars compared to some of the stuff I've seen out there these days, right? I'm not going to get into that, but you're like, that's nothing, right? But if you pay for a seminar. But I went and paid for it. It was a lot for me. And that night, I went to the Starbucks down the street at the Staples Center in Los Angeles. I immediately ripped into everything, and I stayed there till it closed. The next morning, ripped into everything. I'm on drugs, like I'm going crazy because I've never done this in my life. I've never been a risk taker at that moment. So that's how I got started. Then fast forward over the course of 3 months, 120-degree heat, 115-degree heat in Sacramento, right? I didn't have AC in my car, and I'm doing what the things told me to do, which was go to the courthouse, look up notice of defaults. Didn't have this stuff online. They were only starting to do it, like foreclosure.com was brand new back then, and I couldn't afford it anyways. And so you did what it took, which is what she said. Go to the courthouse, look up the NODs, and then go knock on their door, right? How many of you guys have ever knocked on a door for a foreclosure? I am a professional extrovert now. I am naturally an introvert, right? And so a lot of people don't know that, but that's my default, especially 11 years ago, right? Definitely was not an extrovert. So knocking on doors was the scariest thing I ever did in my entire life, but it was probably the best thing. And if you've ever knocked on a door and you're scared of knocking on doors, you do what I did, which is you drive around the neighborhood 5 or 6 times, and then you get out of your car after you go back into, again, because you leave, you don't come back, you don't knock on the door the first time, you just drive by it, and you see somebody there, and you're like, oh, I'll do it next time. And then you come back, right? These are all true stories, I'm not making this shit up. So then you finally pull up, but you park far enough away so they can't see you, and then you go walk around the block. And there's a park across the street, you walk across the street, go walk in the park, right? You're going to say, all right, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. And they walk up the driveway, and then you're like, oh, there's nobody home. And then you go home again, right? And you don't knock on the door. This was me, right? Then I finally knocked on the door the first time. My first time I knocked on the door, the person didn't even own the house, they were the tenant, and I was like, oh my God. And I was like, well, Tata, did you know that they're going to like foreclose the house, and that's the best thing you should say? And then it didn't, whatever, it didn't really work out. But after that, had a whole bunch of stories of weird door knocking situations. I got my first deal. I didn't know what the hell I was doing with it, so I was going to RIA at the time. Met a cool guy named David Granzilla. He was the guy that ran the RIA. He, for some reason, liked me. And when I got my first potential deal, it wasn't even under contract. Brought him in. He set it all up. He did it all, and I got $5 grand. Right? That was awesome. Now that's month 4-ish, something like that. I can't remember.
What happened to the American Express bill?
I haven't been paying, so it's gone. I'm in default, all that stuff. Forgot about that part. Actually, let's make it even better. I took the rest of my credit cards and I pulled all the cash advances out. Because I knew I'm committed now, right? I'm not going to pay this. So I still need gas and I still need food. So I went to that level. And I remember the time I was at a gas station, I was about ready to pump it with a credit card, and I'm like, well, I don't have any other money, right? So I need to go. So I went to the bank and I just gave them the rest of the credit cards I had. And back, I guess when you're 18, you get a bunch of credit cards. When I was 20, I had a few more. I was just a college student. So pulled my cash advances out with the full knowledge that I was not going to pay them back at that time, because I was going to make millions of dollars, right? So so that's what I did. Thank you for reminding me. Yeah. Anyways, that was fun. So $5 grand. I needed it to live, so I sure as hell didn't pay my credit cards back to that stuff. And then it wasn't until I started talking, somebody brought up, I'm going way too long on this part, there's a lot of details here. Somebody else had said, take your profession and talk to other people or find a way to prospect with it. During this whole process, I got my financial services license, right? So who else should you talk to about finances than a 20-year-old kid that is in debt and all that stuff. Right, and dropping out of college at the time, so I dropped out of college in between all that stuff. And so I was telling everybody in the office that I'm this big shot real estate agent, or not even agent, sorry, investor, that I'm going to be investing and doing all this stuff. And one of the guys in the office, Brett Curtis, had a deal, right? He was dating this chick up in Smith River, California, and she had 40 acres. Her divorce it was his last thing in their divorce. 3 years they've been trying to sell it, couldn't sell it. It appraised for over 400 grand, and they only wanted 225 for it. So I'm like, oh, I know everything about wholesaling. I did a wholesale. And so they didn't know that. So you know what? I tied it up. We went through it together, and him and I went through the whole process. In my second deal, it was a $100,000 assignment fee. We tied it up for 225, and we assigned it for 325. Now that took almost 4 months in that whole process. We found a buyer out of Kentucky, right, or Kansas, I don't remember anymore, that we posted online. We did all this stuff. I was going to post pictures of that. That's not important. So, but we got $100,000. We did double and close. You can't really do those anymore, right? And I'm not going to get into what that is, but you just assignment contract, but fancier. And we made 100 grand on my second deal. That changed my entire life. Now I got 60%, he got 40%, and paid off my credit cards finally, right? That was cool. I sat down and I just called them all up. By then it was like, you know, accrued interest and crazy and stuff, because you're talking 8, 9, 10 months later. And paid them all off. It was awesome. That gave me the foundation. By then I was doing pretty good in financial services, and that led to a whole bunch of other stuff. But that's where I started. Now, I didn't get back into full-time real estate until 4.5 years ago. And 4.5 years ago, I don't want to get into any more of the story, but it led to a whole bunch of different partnerships. We went in multiple states, right? Whether we're in Florida, Arizona, Nevada, I never got to California again. Washington, we went to New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Virginia, and Chicago. So, but that was partnerships, different entities, different people, and all the way up to where we are now. Make sense, guys? A lot of story there, but sorry, but I thought it was relatable to some, at least the beginning part. And so, all my years doing this, I've summed up real estate investing into 3 things. And the key word is not real estate investing is in 3 things to me, right? It's 3 simple things. People, numbers, and pieces of paper. That's all I see it as, right? Networking with people that we are here today, right? I know that the #1 reason why I have success in this business today is because of networking. That's it, right? 100% of it. I don't know anything else other than learning how to meet people who have the right stuff and getting them what they want so that they can give me what I want, whatever that is, or just being nice, right? And if some of you guys ever dealt with us and on my team, we're very open. We totally will help out anybody. It's just something that we think is the right thing to do, right? And so numbers, it's strictly numbers. That's all it is. And then you have pieces of paper that actually follow everything in the process. What's an assignment contract? A piece of paper, right? What's the first sales agreement? A piece of paper. What's a contract with a contractor? A piece of paper, right? Everything's a piece of paper. The reason why it's investing and not just real estate is because if you're physically doing the work on the house, I don't think that's really investing. That's active and all that other stuff too. So I think that's another level. So you're physically working on the house. But you're hiring contractors, it's still pieces of paper, right? Joint ventures, pieces of paper. Everything is that. This is it. That's all I see it. You can see it differently. This keeps it simple for me. Make sense? Mm-hmm. So, we all make mistakes in this business. The key is to learn from them and not repeat them again. Over the course of my time doing this business and even flips, we've screwed up a lot of stuff. So all the systems that we do today came from all the screw-ups we did before. And all the screw-ups we've seen other people do, right? You learn from it, you watch it, and you try not to repeat it again. If you got one house that you're working on and you're making mistakes on it now, pay attention to those mistakes and don't do them again later, right? If you keep repeating those mistakes, all right, so that's your fault. Now, this thing doesn't click on this, so I gotta go over here. So I thought it'd be fun to show you guys some pictures of some mistakes. So some things that we've experienced. Some of them is not really mistakes. Some are just fun pictures that we've had over the last few years. And some of these are more recent than others. And there is a few stories behind these I do want to go through because they might seem like very minor things, but they lead to very big problems, right? Or if they all add up and you have all these minor things and you're flipping a house, this is going to be important, and they can make your whole life suck for a little bit. So I thought this was a fun picture. Anybody see anything wrong with this? It's an indoor